All right, everybody, this is Shelby Benton from Profiles Magazine, and I'm very excited today because I'm sitting here with Mr. Otis G. Sanders, professional photographer and soon-to-be published author with his release of Always and Forever Love. And it's a great book that I've heard so much about. The subtitle of the book is going to be Success Stories of Marriage, 20 Years Plus Strong, or 20 years strong. Sorry about that, Otis. So, Otis, as a professional photographer, tell me, what made you decide to write a book, and why a book on marriage?
The main reason is I think it's a natural progression since I've been doing photography for many, many years. I just thought it would be the next level, and I've always wanted to produce a book, publish a book. So, and the marriage part, well, I have been divorced, and it's always been a question what it takes to have a long-standing marriage, and not so much why my marriage didn't work, but what makes other people stay married for such a long time.
Right, and I'm sure that's a question that many of us have out there in the world.
It seems that way since divorce rates are pretty high these days, so I think a lot of people are wondering that also.
Exactly. So what were the qualifications for the couples that you included in the book?
Well, the qualifications are being married for 20 years, minimally. Okay. And I picked 20 years because back in the day, 20 years wasn't a long time, but these days, getting up to 5 years is a long time.
Very true.
So in order to get real information on a long-standing marriage, I thought 20 years would be the minimum.
Okay, all right. Well, later on I want to ask you a couple more questions about the couples in the book, but focusing on the book itself, tell me more about the format and the layout of the book.
Well, the layout of the book will be 8.5 by 11 horizontally.
Okay.
So you'll open it up where there's interview of the couples on one page. The opposite page would be a full-page photograph of the couple, and I thought it'd look better photographically if it was horizontal as opposed to vertical.
Okay, all right. So going back to that photography,
yes.
you definitely
yes.
thought about how
yes.
it would be pleasing to the eye. I'm
yes.
sure your audience will appreciate that also. So do you have a publication date for the book?
I am tentatively going to publish approximately around November, December of this year, 2010.
Okay, all right. And speaking of publishing, are you self-publishing or do you have a publisher?
At this point, I am self-publishing.
Okay. Tell me about the target audience for the book.
Well, the target audience for the book and the whole marketing plan is still being worked out, but okay. The target audience would be, and I'm thinking that this would be more of a relationship type book.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that people that would be interested in reading this book would be people that are in a relationship, soon to be in a relationship, and people that are in relationships that want to get more information on how to make that relationship stronger, how to make it last. Because I think a lot of times when people get married, they don't have people around them sometimes with long-standing marriages that could give them insight on the ups and downs of marriages as they go along. Because when little things happen, sometimes we get all upset if we don't have anybody to run these thoughts and ideas past and situations. Then a lot of times we automatically go to the unfixable point, which means breaking up, things like that.
I agree. So are you hoping that for your audience, or like for someone like me, for example, if I picked up the book, would I be inspired maybe, or I would be able to go to the stories of the couples in the book and actually maybe find some tips or some comments or something that they share that's going to help me in my relationship?
Yes, all of the above. I think what I want to happen if you read the book, mm-hmm. then you can get insight onto these specific stories, and of course these stories would lead into more than likely things that you've encountered, things that you will encounter in your relationship, because when you talk about marriage and relationships, there isn't really that many things that just happen in one specific relationship that won't happen in another. So I'm hoping people that read this book can take away things from it that will help them in their relationships.
Okay, fabulous. It sounds great. So now, a little bit more about the couples in the book. Can you tell me now, when you said one of the requirements is that they're married 20 years, a minimum of 20 years. How did you actually find the couples?
Well, it was really interesting the way that I started. It was an idea that came to me when I was in Atlanta. I started out at a good friend of mine's place. His name is Floyd Williams. We went to college together. Now, I photographed his marriage 25 years ago.
Okay.
And, of course, they had a really good relationship, or real good marriage, and still has. So I was just talking to them about it, and they were the first ones that I interviewed because I knew both of them because it's been 25 years.
Okay.
Then I had a cousin in Atlanta that I photographed them and interviewed them. And I just started thinking about people that I had known for a long time that have been married. And I was really surprised that I had known quite a few people that have been married for a long time.
Okay.
And you forget those things.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you were able to find couples. Approximately how many couples will we see in the final project?
There will be approximately 50.
50? Wow. Wow. Who knew? You know what? I guess it's... I'm kind of surprised myself that you found that many couples, because if I had to list that many couples that have been married more than 20 years, I'd probably have a hard time doing that. But that just shows that this book is needed. It's needed for, hopeless romantics and people like me who need to be reminded that marriage can be that strong.
Yes, and when you're thinking about marriage, it's not the kind of thing that you hear a lot about. Now, you hear a lot about celebrities getting married and a divorce and how nasty it is, but you don't find a whole lot of people talking about the positive side of marriage. But there are a lot of people around that have just been married for a long time. Mm-hmm. And there are more, I could have gotten a lot more people, but I've chosen to deal with people that I know and friends and friends of friends to keep it a little bit more personal. But had I run an ad or something someplace, I think I would have gotten a lot of people. And the other thing about this book is it's going to be a lot of different couples. We're looking at African Americans, Caucasians, Asians, just different, because what I think is what it takes for any one race to stay married for 20 years, I think that it's going to take everybody else, all the other races, to do the same thing, because it comes down to a lot of times communication and things like that, and being on the same page.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you addressed that, because I was going to ask you, if you saw maybe a common thread among all the couples, and it sounds like maybe communication.
Communication.
Okay.
Respect.
Okay.
And what I'm finding a lot is spirituality. Most of it is church with their specific religions, but then there are a few of the artists that I've interviewed also. They're just spiritual people, and the thing that they always talk about is being connected with a higher being and being connected together as a couple is what makes the marriage and relationship last a long time.
Awesome. And before we wrap up today, I just want to hear from you, as the author of this book and self-publisher at this moment. Did you achieve the goal that you set out to achieve when you started this project?
Thus far, I have.
Good.
Thus far, I have. It's been really rewarding, and I think most of my questions have been answered or are being answered as we go.
As you go. All right. So, one last question. Could you tell readers where they could find out more about Always and Forever Love, or more about Otis G. Sanders himself?
Well, I am starting to do marketing for the book now on my website, which is seventhson.org, seventhson.org. Once you get there, you can go to the image gallery, and each month I highlight a different couple that's going to be in the book, so you can always go there. And then there's a blog that I write also, and that's seventhson.org/blog. And you can find more information there, and then you pretty much can find all the information about me there. And then there will be another website coming up, alwaysinforeverlove.com or .org. One or the other coming up pretty soon, where I'll have additional information about all the couples there.
All right. Well, listeners, please check out sevenson.org. Check out Otis's blog. Keep your eyes and ears open for Always and Forever Love, the website, and the book when it comes out. Otis, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm excited about this book and excited about the work that you're doing. So thank you.